So what's good? It's your boy DJ Av. Yeah. So we just started. This is like the fourth time or fifth time now that we've actually restarted this stream. We actually switched programs. I'm actually in OBS now, so if it's a little choppy, so I ask for your forgiveness and I apologize. This is how high def looks like from my webcam. HP True Vision, I see. Yeah, True Vision HD, my butt cheeks. But yeah, we was talking about piracy. I actually had a full conversation. First conversation did not record audio. The second conversation, it was recording perfectly, and then caught a huge buffer underrun, and then I actually looked at the file size, and the file size was like 3 gigs for like 10 minutes, and I was like, wow. And it really wasn't. It didn't when I uploaded the other video. It didn't even upload in HD, and that was for the Drake video. Yeah, so people ask me questions and whatnot. So everybody asking me questions about certain things. But so the biggest topic of them all was piracy. I actually talked about this in a video. It was called VST Noxies, and that was a video where I actually just firing back at people that like to talk smack or whatnot about software. But this is pretty much piracy and whatnot in general. Now, I don't want to be a hypocrite or whatnot to anybody that does pirate software because there's a reason for it. The reason why it happens, and I'm going to get into it. And a lot of people was talking about what's the difference between bootleg and piracy. There's a It doesn't seem like there's a difference, but there is a difference. But yeah, a lot of people was talking about piracy and whatnot, and it's actually something that actually it's talked about a lot on my YouTube channel in general because a lot of people say, "Hey man, can I get that software from you, or can I get this, or where can I get this free at, and whatever." And stuff like this actually occurs, and this is one of the main reasons why piracy occurs. And we're just gonna go ahead and talk about that. And it's pricing. I think software companies price stuff too freaking high. A lot of software companies price their VSTs for at least at bare minimal $200, and I'm talking about for just like a VST that you might or might not use a whole bunch, and that's kind of like sort of a ripoff, but or I mean it's a ripoff, but at the same time, if you're willing to pay for it, you already know the consequences and the strengths and his weaknesses before you make that major purchase. So I feel a lot of people have criticized me about that, and I that's one of the things that I point out there. And a good example of a company that's actually doing well and probably way better than a lot of the other companies out here right now is Track God Sounds. Track God Sounds is actually doing very well because they actually know the consumers. The consumers are not people that have like the income of somebody that like a Timberland or something like that. Your average music producer, probably makes $200 a month. I mean, and that's just like 2005. I think at most when I was selling beats online, and I've actually had the pleasure and the honor to be able to actually get good decent checks and stuff like that, which ended up being purchases for software and stuff like that as well. Uh, you know, uh, but on average, I think when I was really doing it, and that was because I guess I don't know, I was just one of the lucky ones. I was making maybe about on average a month, probably almost a grand. Selling beats online. I caught a lot of flack on that for how I was doing it. But at that time, I was being creative and innovative, and people were not. They was just trying to, be producers that they just made a beat and then hey, I'm gonna sell it for $500 for a lease, but I don't have a discography of any type of shape or form that would justify me leasing my beats for that amount of money. But anyways, that's a little off topic. So, but what we're talking about is the actual piracy. And I pirated stuff when I was younger and stuff like that. But at the same time, I actually bought software. A lot of software I do not use and would not use again because there's more superior software that's out there. And one of them was Acid. I bought Acid when it first came out, and I'm talking about Acid, not Acid 2.0 or Acid 3.0 or whatever. But it came with a version of SoundForge, I think is what it's called. But yeah, I used that to make beats and stuff like that, and it really wasn't cutting the mustard at all, especially for actually mixing vocals and stuff like that. So I ended up getting Magic Studios, and guess what? Magic Studios, well, Acid was $100 and something at Guitar Center, and the dude was really getting his money for it because I couldn't afford Cubase at the time because I was just up and coming producer, and Cubase in general was just like one of those things that it was. I mean, it was a must-have use serious producer at the time, and same thing with Logic. But they all cost a lot of money, and they cost a lot of money, and you didn't get those every single time it came out or updated or whatever. So, but and it also brings me to that point because FL Studio is one of those companies that gets pirated a lot. But however, at the same time, their piracy has went down because their policies have been improved because they realized that they needed to appeal to the masses of producers out there that cannot afford to pay $400, $500 every single time they got a release or something like that. And I mean, like a drastic release too, like like FL 10 to FL 11, and there's like huge improvements. As a matter of fact, FL 12 improved everything that FL 11 did not, and improved the GUI and changed everything. And guess what? If you owned 11, you got it 12 for free, and that's how they roll with their policies and stuff like that. And a lot of companies need to take heed to that. There's other companies that actually are getting on that level as far as eliminating piracy, and that's basically East West East. Well, I was about to say East West Connector. That's out here in Georgia, but East West, which is a company that sells like huge file sound libraries and stuff like that. They actually do a subscription based to appeal to the times and stuff like that. And piracy is one of those things that it helps and hurts you as well. Because at the end of the day, if people don't realize it, or the software companies that make these VSTs and DAWs, they don't realize it. And most of the time when if a person doesn't have the money, they're just not gonna buy it at all. I mean, that's how I am in general. If I can't afford it, I don't need it. I mean, I'm massively an anti-consumer. I will save the money for whatever, but I have a tendency to save the money and then some. Maybe so I can either buy it twice, or and not be hurting or whatever. And I mean, just like have if a software costs like $200 or whatever, that I save up to $400 before I even buy that $200 software. I mean, that's kind of like the general economic strategy when you're actually trying to when you're consuming, is that you always should have 2 or 3 times that amount before you actually buy something, and not just that amount, because you end up being able to struggle and stuff like that. And that's also the reason why piracy exists around poverty and other people, and people that do have money at that, because they don't want to spend money and then get jerked out of a product. And a lot of software companies, they charge $200 for like some software, and and the software is just not it's not worth it. It's not worth the money. And so they end up having this $200. And I'm not saying like software companies are like these rich mad companies or whatever, but you'll end up making a lot more money. Trust me, a lot more money in if you actually charge like reasonable consumer prices for like your plugins. I mean, certain plugins, like I had, just the cop and stuff like that. One of them was I can't even think of the name of it right now. Electro X2. There we go. And it was $200 or whatever. I mean, and I got it, and it was well worth it. I mean, it's getting used in tons of beats and stuff like that. Me and J Dubs own a copy. And it's like it's the best thing since the wheel, I guess. But it's one of those things that companies need to take heed for, because if the Electro X2 was about $50 or $100, they would probably sell a whole lot more, and their company would actually be more lucrative, and then they could afford to give away, have like these contests and stuff like that to facilitate. And when you set your prices high like that, you only are appealing to one type of economic group, or one type of consumer, or certain types of consumers, and you're alienating other consumers. So it kind of makes your company look kind of crazy. But to each his own. I mean, I'm a VST designer as well, and I'm actually working on a project, and I'm saving my money so I can actually get it together for people. And I'm not gonna price it very high, because price it high, at all. I'm going to make it very affordable for everybody, for every consumer standpoint, and everybody will be able to like it and be able to use it. And that means that more people are going to talk about it, more people are going to buy it. And just understanding the consumers out there, that actually would help. Yeah, yeah. I see y'all asking more questions and whatnot, but yeah, and certain, there's even other things like certain software that just never updates, or when you update it, the certain update that you get, it doesn't work with the computer as well as the older version. So a lot of guys, a lot of producers actually end up using the older version, and the only version of it is the actual pirated version. So they actually use that instead of using the one that's further update, which is actually true to certain things like a Trura, which I actually end up buying, and it has a dongle, and they have a non-dongle version of it. I mean, I have not downloaded and used it, but I mean, I have not been able to use that particular plugin in general. And Nexus, I just stopped updating it in general because one of the updates got rid of that whatever that iLock, and that well, before the iLock they had the dongle, and they got rid of the dongle or whatever, and then they quickly updated that, and then they had iLock, and iLock was just as bad. You get a certain amount of serial numbers before they, if not just one, and they you had to pay for the whole entire software again. And RealFX Nexus 2 is not cheap at all, not cheap. And if you buy those expansions are locked out as well. So it's like one of those things you gotta deal with when you're dealing with software and stuff like that. And if more companies actually take heed to that, less piracy would happen in general. I know people have their indifferences about it. They talk about you need to support those companies or whatever, but what are they doing to support our company, support our companies and our businesses as well as music producers? Because you can't just rob somebody blind, and then just have them thinking that they having them as dumb consumers. I understand that the school systems that we're in for children, and for me in the past, they teach you more about being a consumer than they do about being an entrepreneur. And most of the time, it's because they don't have the potential knowledge as to give you as an entrepreneur. So, you know, keep that in mind. But yeah, that's basically it. I don't think I have to really reflect on that anymore. But that's something I wanted to cover. And people that just keep on asking me about that. If I mean, they're gonna ask me if I'm gonna give away software, and I'm giving them a free version of Track Gods Inspire Me, which I'm gonna do a contest for baking soda. But I actually talked to him, and I'm actually bought an extra copy of it because I mean it was only $24.95 for something that great with 100 and something preset patches. So that's a really good deal. So I mean, I'm doing a contest for that. But if you're asking me just for like something free, and it's something low as that in that price, man, that means you really don't need it. I mean, I think that you should actually take heed and not just buy it, because there's no point of you even owning something if you cannot afford it for 20 something dollars or $50 or whatever. And even if it's $200, man, you could just go ahead and pass up on that, because there's free plugins out there, and I probably might even cover some of them that actually perform on a level as something as a massive or wherever else is out there that is just like kind of technically overrated, so to say the least. But there are some things that are worth it. I mean, I guess it's UHE or UHE, uh, Hive, that plugin. They actually give a damn about their community. They actually let us beta test that over there at KVR. So they beta tested that, and they offered it for $50 before it had came out. Now it's up to like $200, I think. I really do hope that they lower the prices again like that, so that the community can really get into that plugin. Otherwise, it's just gonna sit there, and they're probably not gonna make money, or it's gonna end up getting bootlegged or pirated. And also, there is a difference between piracy and bootlegging. Piracy, you're all out just taking something, and you're not buying it or nothing. You're just either just getting it, downloading it or whatever. And bootlegging is basically you're pirating and you're selling it. So that's like a double negative or whatever. I mean, both are not great things to do, but to each his own. Like I said, it happens. There's a reason why it happens, and hopefully we can get past that and move forward, because there's a lot of things that I have on deck that I would like to pass towards that. You know, and there's actually a lot more people that actually are bootlegging will have pirated software that they're using on their channels, and I don't really see y'all actually going at them. One of them is one of them people from Skrillex Click that had a whole bunch of bootleg software. I ain't heard a hit record from him ever, and I'm pretty sure that. And he's working on FL Studio 10, and you know you can, yeah, you know it is what it is. But anyways, you know, uh, I appreciate y'all for y'all time, and this is gonna be the last part of the screen. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate y'all. It's your boy DJ McCree, and I'm signing off. Still signing off.